What's going on, guys? Welcome back. I know it's been a while since I've posted. Been busy with everyday things. So we are back on the El Camino. We are gonna be doing a full wiring harness in this thing today. Got ourselves a Speedway Motors Universal 22 circuit wiring harness. That's the same one I use on pretty much everything. And we're going to be throwing it into this to get rid of all this janky wiring where these white wires are power and these white wires here are ground, and everything else is the same color wire all the way from headlights to taillights. So we are going to be fixing that today. So let's get after it. All right, so we got all the wiring pulled out of this thing, other than the new alternator wire I put in and the battery cables. Everything else is all pulled out of this thing. I even went ahead and pulled the dash out and all the wiring in there. As you can see, at one point this car absolutely caught on fire because we have melted connections everywhere and everything just points to fire. But this is all the wiring that was in the car. As you can see, there's not an assortment of many colors. It's mainly just white house wiring, multi-strand house wiring, so you got that going for you. But anyways, we're gonna get ready to start running this harness. We're gonna mount it probably up high on the kick panel or something. You know what, we're just gonna go to the stock mounting spot right there on the firewall. We'll have to get these guys right here, this screw and this screw out, and dig out the rest of the shit. Oh yeah, gotta get these door switch wires out, and then we'll probably attempt to clean this up a little bit, and then start getting after it. Start laying out our wire, start stretching it, bundle up what we're not going to use currently. Like I said, it is a 22 circuit wiring harness, and we don't need all 22 circuits. We are going to use a majority of them. I mean, we don't have power windows or power seats or cruise control or anything like that, power locks. But maybe at some point in the future, my dad wants to put power windows in this and power door locks and all that, and at least we'll have the circuits to run them instead of having to add in our own. So yeah, clean this up a little bit, and then we'll mount our fuse block and go from there. Oh yeah, and if you didn't notice, we got a bench seat in here. It's out of like a I forget what year, 53 or something like that, Ford pickup truck. So we're actually going to cut down the sliders, and it'll drop it a good 4 inches, and then it should be sitting right where it needs to be and have adjustability too. So, but that's for, so I've done so many of these, I already know some tips and tricks to do on them. Just on the front harness that goes out the firewall, you're going to want to separate your ignition, wiper feed, tach, oil pressure, and temperature sending unit wires from the main harness that runs to your headlights. This has your horn button, electric fan, high beam, low beam, and then parking lights and turn signals. So you just want to get those separated before you throw it in there. Makes it a lot easier to fish these through the firewall and get them where they're going. And then you just mount this to the firewall. The rest of these, like this is all dash wiring, this is ignition switch, accessories, headlight wiring, this is radio and your AC unit and all that stuff, and then this is for your steering column. So it's all pre-labeled, determined lengths and everything. It is a universal kit, but it works on most GM vehicles up until the early or late 80s. It works for almost all of them. And then this is just your rear harness. This will run to your fuel pump, fuel sending unit, and your tail lights. So let's get this thing mounted and start running our wires. What I do is I just feed these ones through first. And then go to the other side, pull them all the way through. Get those out of the way. These will all go this way. And then this will mount right up on the firewall, like such. Make sure you're not pinching any wires. Take your mounting bolts. Oh. There you go. Now you got your fuse panel mounted, and we can start stretching our wires out where they need to go from here. So now that we got some of it ran, we need to separate the sub harnesses. I know headlight switch goes right here, up in the dash, up at the top right here. You can't see it because it's not in frame. And then the rest of these, ignition switch is going to go over here to the passenger side. Same with the radio wires, and then brake line wires will go that way as well, or brake switch wires, because the brake switch is right here on the brake pedal. This is our wiring for our dash, so this will be secured here. And then we have our steering column wiring as well, that will get secured here as well. And then also, big thing with wiring, you want it secured so it doesn't move around. The wiring's worst enemy is chafing. So if you have wires that can shake around when the car's driving around, you're more likely to get a short. And that is probably what happened with this car originally, is wires shorted out, started a fire, and that was the end of the era for this car until I snatched it up. So we're going to secure these. I have zip ties. Zip ties are king. We'll zip tie this all up so it doesn't move. This will eventually go to a switch, and then we'll zip tie it up so it doesn't move. But this is the gist of it. Like I said before, every single wire in here is labeled, so it's very easy to find your way around it. Like, let's just pull this yellow wire right here. This is your left rear turn switch, or not turn switch, but left rear turn signal wire, which goes through the harness of the steering column. So very easy to follow, very easy to do. It's not very hard. I know a lot of people are scared of wiring, but it is not that difficult. You guys make it more difficult than it needs to be. Get yourself a good wiring harness that's all labeled, and it will go smoothly. Also, if you don't already, get yourself some flush cuts, because no one likes sharp zip ties. They cut them flush so there's no sharp edges, and you won't get pissed when you have to go back and do something and you go stick your arm up here and you get it cut by a zip tie. So invest in some flush cuts, and it'll make your life a lot easier in the future. Plus it looks a lot cleaner when you have zip ties that are all cut perfectly. Also, another thing with wiring, plan accordingly. It sucks when you have all your wires ran and then you're like, oh shit, I forgot I need this wire. So if you know you're going to need extra wires throughout your harness for some reason, if you're adding some aftermarket stuff, make sure you run it through there beforehand so that you don't have to do it after. And then make sure you map out where all your stuff is going. Like I know the ignition switch is right here. Dash will go right here. This is for the steering column, so this stays right here. This is for the headlight switch. And then these wires right here are for the radio and AC. So make sure you get it all planned out, mapped out. It's not bad to write it all out on a piece of paper and to have yourself a little map so you know which wires go where. But yeah, that's the gist of it right here under the dash. Now that we got all these ran, we're gonna go up under the hood, start running those wires, and then eventually we'll hop back in here and we'll run these to the rear. And then these are just accessory wires. These are just extra circuit in there in case you have something else you need switched power to. So as you can see, these are our two sets of wires that are coming out of the firewall. These ones are broke off from this one because this one is going to go towards the distributor and the block and everything. And then these will all go forward and run to the horn, headlight, electric fan if we had one, and then all the marker lights and turn signals. So we're just going to stretch these out. I'm not going to bore you guys with doing all that right now. And then show you what's next. What up? New shirt, new day. Shout out to Trollco. Link will be in the description. We busted out a bunch of the wiring yesterday. As you can see, we got this all our plugs on the ends and everything. Ignition switch is now in. And then we went ahead and this morning made a new dash bezel for this thing, and got it all wired up and plugs put on this for ease of installation. New headlight switch in there. We have a USB charger that I threw in instead of a cigarette lighter. And then now we're just going to throw this in and then see what it looks like, and I'll show you guys what the new gauges look like all lit up and stuff. So, oh, also we finished wiring inside the engine bay as well. You can see we just have that white wire is actually going to go to the brand new windshield wiper motor right there. That's the old one. You can see it's all burnt up. We just got that little harness there. Got one coming in here for the headlights to this side, and then we threw in a kill switch slash circuit breaker in this thing to kill all power. So in case it has a parasitic draw, just tap that button. Or if you don't want someone to steal your car, because these things are super easy to hotwire, you just hit that button and it kills all power to the car. As long as they don't know about it, they won't be able to steal it. So let's throw this dash in, see what it looks like. Alright guys, as you can see, got all of it in here. Got the new headlight switch in, the USB charger, new ignition switch, got the gauges. They all light up too. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. And then there we go. So unfortunately, that's all we're going to be able to do on this. I went to 3 different stores trying to find fittings for the sending units, for the temperature sending unit and the oil pressure sending unit, and nobody had them in stock, and the places that do have them in stock are another 30 minutes or so away. So I don't feel like driving all the way that way and then driving all the way back and doing it. I'm gonna leave that up to my dad to finish. Also, he's going to finish running the rear wires to the back because he's going to be cutting out the floor and welding a new floor. So I don't want to run those yet because they're going to have to get moved out of the way anyways. And then, yeah. But that's about it. Wiring this thing up. Like I said, it's super simple. You just got to plan it out on where you want to run your wires, and you know, it's not that scary. Everybody says wiring's scary, but it's really not. It's very simple, especially with this Speedway kit. I'll even show you. Where's the instructions? There you are. I didn't even touch these things because I've done them so many times, but it literally gives you a diagram of every single wire that there is and what it needs to hook up to, and then all this other stuff too. And it's very, very simple, very simple. So I recommend everyone who's building their own cars to do their own wiring, so if they do come across a problem, they know how to diagnose it themselves. They don't have to take it anywhere. And these kits, like I said, are super simple. It's very hard to mess up. So yeah, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys for following along. Make sure you like the video, subscribe, hit that little notification bell, and I'll see you on the next one.
I wake up every minute with the fever dreams. I push my mind to a limit where it needs to feed. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to